And I've had to appreciate my love for writing music over my love of being famous. In my opinion, as long as the who's know who I am, I don't care about the who's nots.
Yeah. All right, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Qualified Conversations, where we have in-depth conversations with those who are, in fact, qualified. Now, before we get started, please make sure everybody out there watching, make sure y'all tap in and subscribe and like our YouTube channel so y'all can tap into all of the content that we post on our page. I'm your host, Jerz, aka Life as I See It, and today we have a special guest in the building. We have a special guest in the building for a few reasons. I'm going to start this way, right?
Talk to me.
I'm a movie guy, and one of the classics is The Wood. And it's one of my favorite movies. And one of my favorite parts in the joint where, he dancing with her. Y'all remember the scene. He dancing with her, and, some things going on. And then she look at him, and he like, oh, this how we dance in North Carolina. Now, I bring that part up because we got somebody in the building from North Carolina.
North Cackalack.
You know what I'm saying? Hailing from North Carolina, but here in Atlanta, Georgia, live and direct, we have a young, talented, special artist and individual, and y'all will see more about what I'm talking about. In the building today, we have none other than Janiah Tashae.
Yeah. Woo, 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 woo. That's where you insert the fake ass claps and stuff.
Yeah. We're gonna do that on the post pro.
Yes. I'm so grateful to be here. I really am. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm ready to get into some good old combos.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, of course, thank you for coming. Thank you for lending your time.
For sure.
And yeah, like you said, let's get into some good conversations.
Let's do it.
So I want to start with North Carolina.
Yeah.
Let's start with North Carolina because that's where it starts for you, right?
Absolutely.
Charlotte, right?
Yes, Charlotte. I say that for the folks who, aren't familiar with North Carolina, but for those who are, the Monroe, Waxhaw area. So that's a country town. We call it the Sticks. Some real country cornbread fed type folks.
Yeah.
So, but for the people who are, unfamiliar with North Carolina, I say Charlotte, but
Yeah.
704. That's the area code.
704.
Yeah.
Word. Okay, so let's talk about it. Now I said, talented artists and all these different things. But we're speaking about music, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about music. You are a songstress, yes?
Yes, sir.
So before we get into the specifics of today and what today looks like, I want to kind of take it back to the beginning.
Yeah.
We all love music. Music is the universal language, and it's a thing that any and everyone all over the world can understand and connect with people in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
You took to music, as most people do, and you took a liking to, I guess, certain styles of music.
Absolutely.
Talk about your household or growing up. What were you hearing coming up? What were some of your early influences that just made you fall in love with just listening to this thing called music?
Absolutely. So I come from very humble beginnings. I come from a large family as well on my mom's side and my dad's side. So growing up, bunch of cousins, bunch of aunties and uncles. So just that feeling of love and embrace, thank God that was my upbringing. But my parents, both of them sing. Still to this day, they sing as like a couple. So they do weddings, they do funerals. And I grew up as well as singing in church. And it's so crazy because I just heard Jermaine Dupri speaking this morning on a radio show talking about how there's a lost art with people who have the upbringing of church.
Yes.
And, I feel like that church element is really what R&B and rhythm and blues
Absolutely.
was, originated from. So I thank God that was my beginning. Still in the church. I actually still sing at church, at the church I go to here in Atlanta.
Nice.
So I feel like that's a part of myself that no matter how far and deep I go in this industry, that I try myself to stay rooted in. Is just, that foundation of God and just honing on to those melodies and those sounds that
Yes.
gospel brought. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that right there is just the meat of good old R&B to me.
Mm-hmm.
And they have alternative R&B, which is really good as well. But like I said, church is my upbringing. I'm one of five. So I have two older sisters, two younger brothers.
So you right in the
Yeah,
middle.
I'm right in the middle, right in the middle. My parents, specifically my dad, he's always acted as like my manager and really my investor when it comes to my music. So he scheduled my first studio session when I was 12 years old, and I will never forget this. I recorded a song when I was 12 years old called "Waiting on Love." Why I recorded that at 12? Too grown. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
I don't know why. And you know what?
Yeah.
My dad at that age didn't even question it. It wasn't like, girl, why you think? It was like he felt that passion. And even at that young age, my songwriting was like, man, you good for a little 12-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, I wasn't writing at the level I am now.
Of course.
Because I've had, maturity in years to kind of strengthen up.
Yeah.
Exactly. But as a 12 years old little girl, I think my dad, he seen that seed in me. And him and my mom always wanted to go big and large with music as individuals. But of course, life happens. They made a family. And, my brother, he's in the industry as well. His name is Mari Beats, super producer. I mean, he just dropped the Babies project. So make sure y'all.
Babies project is fire.
It's fire. And he's a North Carolina, native. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely, like I said, I thank God for my parents, my father specifically, because he's seen that goal in me.
Yeah.
And he's seen that drive. And from then, literally ever since I was 12, I've worked with different people that my dad knew that we grew up with. And my dad had dealings with Casey back in the day. And we were just talking about how there's some North Carolina natives. So shout out to Casey and JoJo. So, yeah, just a mix of gospel and good old country living. Ain't nothing like it. I know y'all city boys. You're a city boy. Jersey in the house. but still, it's a certain type of a love and hominess that the Carolinas bring. So, yeah, that's my upbringing.
And I love North Carolina. I've said it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I'll never stop saying it because, we were talking offline, but my family's from North Carolina on my dad's side. So I've never had a bad experience in North Carolina. Like,
that's what we like to hear.
Like, never, though. Like, it was never a time where I was there where it just wasn't good vibes. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
So I love NC. My whole family's from NC. Shout out to my family in NC.
Shout out to family.
Yeah, so I love it and I understand it.
Yeah.
So that's a language that I recognize.
Yeah.
I recognize well. And I do agree, yes, I am super city, but I can appreciate that type of living.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or that, like that, it is a certain hominess.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean? That
slower.
comes with
it's a slower life. I feel like the city life, you grow up fast, you mature fast because there's so many things that younger kids are doing in the city that kids in the country ain't having to do yet.
Right.
The bus by yourself, doing this in the street, walking. So I feel like it's just like it's a slower lifestyle, which kind of brings more room for that fellowship, for the family. It's given like less of an independency when you grow up in the country. You actually depend on community.
Family and community.
Yes, you depend on that village. So yeah, that's definitely helped me still to this day. My family are super supportive. And I'm grateful because a lot of times whenever you grew up in the church, it can look as what's she doing in the secular world now? You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother conversation about having to almost still prove your love of God while being an R&B artist, and it is hard. You do have to practice some discernment in situations of who you work with, what you're doing. One thing I've realized too, when I first moved here to Atlanta, I wanted to be at every event. I wanted to get myself out there. It didn't matter what it was, an album release party, a studio session, a fashion, absolutely. Whatever it was, I wanted to be there. But when you start to experience and connect yourself, you start learning what spaces are valuable.
Yeah.
And what spaces are just really a good time. And, and it's okay to have a good time. But I feel like as you mature, you even want your good times to be calculated a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You even want it to be like, wow, I had a good time, but it was such a great takeaway. Like, for instance, how I met you on Wednesday. Shout out to Tree Sound. They just had a wonderful event, studio mixer. That's why I met you. And I feel like not only was it fun, but I got to make these connections right here that I plan on, having for a while, lifelong. So, yeah.
For sure. No, I agree, and just speaking to, I guess the whole idea of family, community, and the difference between coming from church to the secular world, right?
Yes.
Because I understand it because I grew up in the church. You know, my grandfather was a reverend and a minister. Like my family was all through the church, so like I understand it and I speak that language very well, right? So like
Yeah.
I personally didn't necessarily go through that, but I understand what that is.
Right. Right.
For you as a singer, um, can you speak about a little bit of those times where you had to make the decision on how do I toe the line or how do I do the things that aren't displeasing or like what
Yeah.
was the mindset or how is the mindset, because maybe it's
Right.
even still a current present day kind of
Absolutely.
battle, yeah.
And it is a current, still present day type of decision making thing where you have to continuously use your discernment in situations. But I will say this before I get into that. I really had to figure out who I am as a person, not
Yes,
the
okay.
Janiah that my family wants me to be, not the Janiah that, my friends want me to be, that the industry see me as. Who do I see myself as?
Right.
And I feel like once I made that decision, I learned to not put myself in certain boxes,
Yeah.
because in the industry as well as just in life, people want to put you in a category of being one type of way. She's either a church girl or she's a in the world girl. You know what I'm saying? Like that's usually the box that a lot of people place you in,
Yeah.
but they don't realize there's so many different areas. And I believe that intersectionality is a real thing. It's okay to have your hand in multiple things, but I do feel like you have to just maintain the same character
Character.
throughout it all. You
Yeah.
can't be up in the club, hey, da, 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 but
Mhm.
then you want to be quiet and timid when it come to church. And
Right,
people
right,
who
right, right,
know
right.
me know just as outgoing as I am in life, that's how outgoing I like to be in church with my spiritual life. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? It's not a secret thing
It's
where
like a
I'm
different
hiding.
person.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
not a completely different person. It's still me.
Mhm.
And I feel like, first off, you don't know what anybody does behind closed doors. So
And
you can't.
duality is a thing, though. We
Yeah.
get into this
Yes.
hypocritical type of space or mindset where we get to judging,
Yes.
and it's like, yo, dog.
Because people are leveling sins. You have people that go to church and they have this persona of what you think a church person is,
Right.
but they still might gossip and be evil hearted. And you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That is still something that is just as an
People are
issue
people.
as somebody who like maybe have a problem with drinking or they like to go. I just don't feel like I don't have time to level out sins anymore. We're all working on ourselves. And once you realize that, you're able to extend a little bit of grace. So I've extended grace to myself when it comes to this whole journey of music. Like,
That's good.
stop putting yourself in a box, Janiah. Stop saying, if I do this, what if people look at me as that?
Mhm.
I don't care.
Mhm.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
once you make that decision, you have to make the decision to
I'm about to
continuously
say you got
not
to
care.
stand in it. You got to
Yes,
stand in
you
it.
have to
Yeah. Yeah.
continuously be confident in how and who you say you are. So
Absolutely.
I am a person that loves God, but I love writing music. I love rhythm and blues. I feel like at this point, trying to maintain a good spiritual life, I just have the discernment of who I'm writing for, what I'm writing. If you're working with a certain artist, what type of music you have to write for them.
Right.
It's
Right.
no
Right.
secret.
Right.
You
Right.
you should have done your background research on that artist, whatever, to know. You know what I'm saying? And if it's something
Mhm.
that I feel like won't align, I won't do it.
Yeah.
If it's something I feel like, hey, I can still write this record and not feel like I've had to compromise myself,
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, don't think every opportunity is like, oh my God, if I don't do this, I'm not gonna succeed. Look at your gift and look at your life as a well that never runs dry. This opportunity might not go through, but the
Yeah.
next one is going, and
Mhm.
the next one is going, and
You gotta have that fight though, and keep
yes,
the fire lit. I know it sounds corny, you
exactly.
know
But
what I'm
that's
saying, but
true.
it's
That's
true. You
true.
gotta find a way
Yep.
to keep the fire lit so that
Mm-hmm.
when or and if no when
When right,
it doesn't happen for you this time, you keep if
keep
you
it
still lit, you
going.
keep it going. You gotta push through
And
it.
Leah said it best: if at first you don't succeed,
Dust
you
yourself
dust
off.
yourself and try it again.
Hmm.
And try it again. I
Yeah.
feel like the major trick that we have in this world, and the reason why a lot of reason why anxiety is so high in folks, is because we have this persona that, like, I can't try again. If I don't do this, I'm just a failure.
Yeah.
And that's when anxiety starts to come up, because you're overthinking whenever life is full of opportunities. Life is full of mercy. Like you good. It's gonna be another opportunity. I can't promise you when.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it will. And
And
once
meanwhile, failure is a part of the journey.
it
Like,
grows you.
yeah, like failure is the inevitable. It's gonna
Yes.
happen. Like,
Right.
so you should just get that out of your head. Like,
Yes.
know that it's coming. Play chess and understand. Okay, anticipate it now. Learn
Right.
how to anticipate when it go bad.
Right.
All right, I'm ready. So while it's good, be happy and enjoy that and dig that, and that's
Yes.
dope. But you still got to be prepared on the side because you
Absolutely.
know it's gonna go. You know it's gonna go bad.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen this movie?
Yeah.
It goes bad. It goes bad.
For sure. And you gotta know that failure is just not a reflection of you.
It's not about you.
It's not. It's it's
It's
not
about
a
what.
reflection.
It's just part of what happened.
Yeah, it's literally a reflection of that moment. That's it. That moment might have not been the right one, or but that's cool. That's just not saying that you and your life in general is a mistake and that you're just so wrong because you failed to make a good decision this time around. I just feel like once I started having that grace that I have for myself, I started more so living what made me comfortable.
Yeah.
What made me not have to feel like I was compromising myself in situations. And it still is a journey. I'm not about to say I mastered
You
it.
figured it out. Yeah.
I'm figuring it out
Yeah,
still.
yeah. I was gonna say, like, I get that. I understand that. Like, even something as, like, I'll be vulnerable for a moment. Like,
Yeah.
me personally, right, as a person, I don't really, like, I won't say I stay to myself, but I don't be fucking with niggas. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm a
Yeah.
people person and all of that, but I don't, or I should say, I'm comfortable around people, right? Socially, I'm good in social settings. I'll say that. But I don't rock with people in that way. But on the flip side, when it comes to business and then when it comes to branding and promotion and like putting yourself out there, I have to go against what my personal preference
Facts.
is. And yo, I'm gonna just chill, I'm gonna lay back, I'm gonna do what I
Yeah.
do when I do it on my own type of time because the gig is the gig, right? The job it
Absolutely.
demands it. So, with that being said, kind of doing things that are uncomfortable, but you know you have to do them.
Yeah.
I want to speak to you as because you mentioned some things, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I want to speak to you as a singer first, as a vocalist first. We spoke about some of your roots, and we understand that a lot of that is deep rooted in church, traditional R&B, if you will. And we didn't necessarily talk about your specific influences, but I do want to speak to you as a singer. I guess maybe we can get into those influences, right? Because as you sing, yeah, you
This
sing it
is
in church, and
good.
I know you sing it in church, and you at choir rehearsal and whatever's going on throughout the week, but you listening to music and you listening to the radio, and your cousin or your sisters or your whoever got CDs and albums, and your siblings and whoever's in the neighborhood or the family, whoever, right?
Right.
Who are we listening to? Who are we loving? Who are we gravitating to? Oh,
This
I
is so
love her.
good.
Who was this?
This
Yeah,
is so easy. And my answer is never going to change ever. My direct influence and person I looked up to and heard all throughout the house growing up was Brandy. Number one. I feel like, and they call her the vocal Bible for a reason because she just has an excellent tone. One thing that I've learned from her, and if you listen to some of my R&B music, you can kind of hear some of that style of those layering and stacking of vocals.
she's
and
one of the
harmony.
illest stackers of all time.
I'm telling you, she makes it
like
like
her
butter.
and Michael Jackson.
Yes, it's literally like butter. So growing up, my parents had that Full Moon playing all throughout.
Is so crazy.
I mean, one of her best projects, albums, whatever that she's ever created, in my opinion. But like that was my number one influence. But above her is, and we're going back and back, Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
That's always been
big.
I mean,
voice.
literally big voice.
Yeah.
People underestimate as well how great of a writer she was. Aretha Franklin wrote almost every single record that she has. This wasn't how it is now, to where you see more songwriters collaborating on records. Sometimes you can see 5 to 7 songwriters on a record, right? But once you go back and look at the songwriter credit, it's just her.
It's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Oh, I'm telling
I didn't
you.
even know that.
Go back. One of my favorite songs by her is called Daydreaming.
Yes.
And actually, there's a sample of that was made in the 2000s with that same song. And a lot of samples that they do now come from old music like her.
The Cam sample, or which one? Because Cam did a record called Daydreaming, and it was featuring Patti LaBelle off the Come Home With Me album.
It's gonna come to me. I promise it's gonna come to me. Now that's my homework, right?
All right.
I mentioned it. Now I gotta back it up. but no, Aretha Franklin would be my person above Brandy, to where that older influence, to where I feel like people like her might have could have
Gotten
even.
it from her.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. And of
And I'm
course
sure.
Whitney Houston. I mean, my
Yeah,
mom
I was
loved.
waiting. I was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
waiting.
Oh,
Big Jersey now. Come on,
yeah.
let's talk about
My
it.
mom loved Whitney Houston.
The
I loved her.
voice.
I mean,
That's the
literally.
only.
And to
I
me,
feel.
those three women have always just been like, anytime I want to get any type of sound advice on how should I sing this, what my approach is, I go back to some of those old albums
Yeah.
between Brandy, Whitney, and Aretha Franklin, because it's just so golden.
Yeah, it's going.
It's so golden. So
That's a heck
yeah,
of a trifecta. Let me tell you.
yeah, that's me.
Let me tell you.
That's me.
You got that. You got that. And let me
Yeah.
tell y'all that I've heard the music. See, y'all haven't heard the music yet, right? So part of why we are doing this is so you can get more familiar with her
Yeah.
and what she has going on. But let me tell you, it's not a gas. Like I'm telling you, the music is incredible. The talent is incredible. The voice is incredible.
Thank you.
And all of what she's saying in terms of her influences, yeah, I hear it. I hear it.
Appreciate that.
Brandy. First of all, if you're saying Brandy as your number one, even though you said number two, I got you.
Yeah.
Um, that off the rip tells me something about you. That tells me how serious you take it, and you might be a real artist. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hey, I be trying to do a little something.
well, listen, I don't think nobody fronts on Brandy because you can't.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's just one of the first names that a lot of people say. Now, I
you have to
had
know good music to.
you have to know
mention
good
her.
music.
You
You
have,
have to be qualified.
qualified comment. Look how we reeling this out.
You understand? You got to be qualified to have these type of conversations.
Yeah.
So I love that you said Brandy. We going off script now. It just all right. So you said Full Moon. Full Moon is an amazing album, but it made me think about how she stacked on. What was the last album she came out with? Where it's just her face.
It's the
Whatever
most
it's
recent one.
yeah, whatever it's called. But you know the cover I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
She has a record on there. Man, it's gonna make me want to look it up. She has a record on there where it's no drums and it's just her sing. Oh my, yo.
I'm telling you, I used to sit and play this song just to cry, y'all. Have y'all ever just wanted to cry and had no reason to cry? Like, anytime I've ever wanted to be like head ass and like just cry, I put on Have You Ever? Oh my gosh.
That's a good. If you're gonna cry, I can see tears coming down.
Yeah, I mean,
on
it
that
just
record.
makes you think about all your dead
Of life.
homies,
Everything,
life,
in
like
everything, your whole life. Damn,
Yeah,
that is a sad
But
ass.
you know,
beautiful song.
it's such a sad song. It's sad. It's really sad.
It's a sad ass,
song,
beautiful,
but
beautifully performed.
yes,
It is sad.
and it's a testament to how music is not just about press and play on a song and going. Music sways emotions. Music makes people do and say different things. You know what I'm saying? That's why whenever I'm going through stuff, whether it's a breakup, whether it's this at my job, whether my music, what I play and what I'm listening to heavily affects my mood for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Heavily affects what type of time I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why whenever we all going out, we can't wait to put on a little nudie and put on a little, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like we
you
know
gotta
that,
feel good.
yes, we know that song is going to evoke some type of emotion. So it's like whenever I just want to feel just whole or like a big old hug. That's why I like playing music like Brandy, Whitney, and Aretha Franklin. It's just like them women make you feel like the song hugging you, you know, all throughout.
They
so.
mom. Well, Brandy maybe not so much with the mama thing.
Yeah.
Definitely Whitney and Aretha give
For sure.
mama and energy. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I get that completely. And really, what you're speaking to, or what I'm listening to rather, is the psyche of Janiah.
Yeah.
Because the psyche is telling me that you care,
Yep.
that you really give a damn,
Yep.
and you take it seriously.
Absolutely.
So I talked about some of your influences. Now, as a songstress, being in the studio or wherever it is that you create and record, your inspiration comes from real life and real experiences, and you pour that into the music. Right. And so you're writing, and it's authentic, and it's speaking to who you really are, and all of these things, right? And the music is translating because, like I said, I heard it, and it sounds great.
Thank you.
But I think Another thing that I can appreciate about you as an artist is you allowed your artistry to grow legs. You
Absolutely.
didn't allow yourself to be in any box because even to present day, you're not in a box.
Yeah.
What I'm speaking to in terms of the legs is songwriting,
Yes.
because a lot of people over the years may have heard little tidbits and rumblings of how songwriting is where the money is really at and things of
Right.
that nature, right? But a lot of people don't have the opportunity to either hear from someone who's qualified to speak on that
Yeah.
or just hear those stories in general, because I take songwriters as some of those unsung heroes.
Right.
I understand that you do songwrite for yourself and others.
Yeah.
And we spoke about not being boxed in. I understand also that you do this not even just for the R&B genre, even though that's
Right.
what you love and come
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
So speak to how we even have the audacity to make certain pivots to start to songwrite for other artists outside of yourself.
Yes. So, man, I have so much to talk about with this topic. I want to start off by saying, and this it might ruffle a few feathers, but this is genuinely how I feel. So it's like, hey, let's talk about it.
We might have to take a little
Let's do it.
How you move, I can tell that you ain't used to this. Left me and can't make no excuse for it. Oh, that grass ain't greener on the other side. How you gon' dub the one that's down the ride? Had your chance, gave it up. You come back out of love for you. It ain't nothing I can do for you. Do for you.
Songwriters are the true lovers of the song.
Mm-hmm.
We are the heart of the song.
I would have to agree.
We are the brain of the song. A lot of times you can get anybody to sing a track, and the engineering and the production supports anybody just being able to, you know, perform the track.
Right.
But the songwriter, the person who orchestrated it, the person who thought of those melodies, of those sounds, of those lyrics, whatever, that's the true lover of the song. And I've had to appreciate my love for writing music over my love of being famous. And a lot of people go the artist route because they just want the glam.
Yeah, they want.
You know what I'm saying? They want
be
the fame. They
seen,
want to be
yeah,
seen.
Yeah.
My priority is my love for producing this.
Mm-hmm.
My love for being able to tap into different genres, not just R&B, but to pop, but to gospel, to country. Like that right there, that is my love. And I love that more than being famous right now in my life, which is the reason why I've started to grow those legs and get into songwriting more than I, do artistry. And then to keep it real, it is a lot that goes into being an artist. You have to put out money to get money when it comes to an artist. You want your image to be good. You want your marketing to be there. You want to make sure you're tapped into radio stations. You really do need to make sure
If you
you
want to
have
do it the right way.
the right way,
The right
in the
way.
in the way that's going to get you on that grand, that large scale, the
'Cause
world.
we care about how it looks.
Absolutely.
We care about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the artists that you see right now who are mainstream are people who have either put in that money themselves or have had teams to have helped just acquire that whole type of thing. You really do have to just be mentally ready to put on all that.
Yeah.
But as a songwriter, it's more about one-on-one, really doing your homework. So when I got here to Atlanta, I'm trying to figure out who are the songwriters that are behind a lot of these current R&B songs that I love.
Stop right there. Doing your homework, because
Okay.
research is a lost art these days. Research is not scrolling the timeline, y'all. I understand that you can get your gossip news from, no disrespect, but your baller alerts and your shade rooms and
Yeah.
those type of outlets, right? Cool.
Right.
That's not research. Because
Right.
even with those, a lot of times people look at the headline. They don't even click the caption to read what that says. They look at the
Yeah.
headline and then start talking and having opinions off of that.
Absolutely. And
Nobody-
you can't.
You cannot. You
You
have
can't.
to do your due diligence.
Absolutely.
You have to. So for
Yeah.
you coming into the space, this new area,
Right.
I don't know if you had ever traveled to Atlanta before, but
I
it doesn't
had,
matter.
Yeah, I had.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now this is where you're going to dwell.
Right.
So let me figure out what's going on out here, but in a real way, like not
Absolutely.
just surface. Let me figure out. Did y'all hear what she said? Let me figure out the names
Yep.
who are doing and writing these records.
Right.
Like that means you are really trying to get down to the bottom of it, and you're being
Absolutely.
intentional.
Absolutely. I'm a solution based type person. I realized that even though I felt like a shark in a fish tank in my city, meaning that I felt like I outgrew my territory with Charlotte, I still felt like I was dumped into a larger ocean when it came to Atlanta.
Absolutely.
So it's like now, who do I want my peers to be? And they say your friends are a reflection of you, who you hang out with,
Right.
whatever. So I'm like, I want to be amongst the conversation, the number of people who are songwriting and making these
And
amazing
really-
records. Yeah. And even taking a look at what companies are helping to support these records. I mean, Sony, Rock Nation, however, just making sure, okay, who can I team up with in these realms, in these labels that I know I can get in contact with? So that was my first thing. And I'm going to tell you, it's like a snowball effect. Once you're in the studio and you've created that rapport and that relationship with one person, next thing you know, hey, yo, Janiah, I got a session next week and so-and-so going to be there. You want to come with me?
Sure.
Absolutely. And I'm saying yes every single time.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from there, I found myself within the first 365 days of being here in Atlanta, just making amazing relationships. And I was just like, whoa, things don't never move this fast in Charlotte. And that is just a testament to
What's here?
yes, what's here, and also just in general, where you're planted, your soil matters. Because the seed could be good, in good standing. It can be a strong seed ready to produce great fruit, right? But if it's not planted in the right area, it won't grow.
Yeah.
It's no matter how much you try to wait, be patient, do this, do that, it is not gonna grow because it's not planted properly. So I feel like once I got here, man, I was planted right now. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like I see the growth and I see the fruits that are bearing and still to bear. But Atlanta has been good to me.
That's great to hear.
Atlanta's been good to me.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Because people have all types of stories about all types of places and what have you. But
Yeah.
it's good to hear that you were very intentional on coming here.
Absolutely.
You were intentional on how you wanted to shape things up when you got here.
Yeah.
And then once you landed, you started to execute.
Right.
Because that's the last step. That's the
That's
last step. That's the part that most people, that's where they fall off on. They
Yeah.
don't execute.
And faith without works is dead. Like that's not, I hate to get really churchy here, but that really means a lot. Like everybody has dreams and goals. Everybody say, man, I want to be a doctor. I want to be the next biggest CEO. I want to be the da-da-da. And you can have those aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not physically putting in any type of work to get that, it just won't happen. Your dreams and your aspirations are made void.
Yeah.
There has to be some type of work that you got to put in physically. Like, and everybody don't have a head start on that. Some people who born in certain, families or to money, I've seen that as well in the industry as far as a lot of artists getting out there because of their connections. But regardless, you can make it happen. No matter where you came from, you can make it happen.
But you got to go out that. You got to go outside.
You got to.
You got to go outside.
You got to.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to get in that field.
You got to get in
You got to get in that field,
It's
man.
all right. Come in. The water's warm. The water's warm.
You learn a lot. I feel like you have more fun with it than you don't. Now, granted, there has been moments.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yep.
It's especially as a songwriter, even though we're the lovers in the heart of the song, we're the most underappreciated of the record.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times whenever you do these records, producers are getting upfront money on top of back end on what the record does.
Yeah.
But as far as a songwriter, and unless you become really like a big household name, there might be some songwriters who get a before anything happens type check. But a lot of times the average songwriter are getting that back end too. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like, hey, we're gonna make sure you straight first. And I feel like that's something that we should change in the industry.
Okay, so I'm with the change, but
Yeah.
just so we actually clarify what it is that you're saying.
Yeah.
So are you saying that once you write the record and I give this record, we're just gonna call it artist A, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, boom. We give it to artist A. Now, no money is exchanged yet. What happens? Like, when do I get paid? Do I have to wait until they start to shop the record? Do I have to wait until album sale first week comes back? Do I have
Typically that's what it is. What I'm saying is, if you're working with a songwriter who has the discography of like songs, meaning they have plenty of placements, that there are a certified songwriter who's done some major records.
Mhm.
Those songwriters I feel like before the record is even created, should get a hey, this is for just can you come to the session? Can you come?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that money is like, hey, yeah, we agreed to do the work, no matter if the song goes platinum or not.
Got you.
I do believe certain songwriters should be able to get upfront money, just how like sometimes with producers, you have to buy that beat first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Before you get on it, before you see what the sales are doing, they're gonna get their cut.
So let me ask it this way, and I don't mean to name drop, but
No.
as an example,
Okay.
The Dream, right? We know he's one of the biggest songwriters
sure.
out there, right? So, and I'm not saying that you know his business, but
Right.
so are you saying that the Dream might, or maybe he's like an anomaly, like he'll get his money up front probably.
Right. I was
He's
about
the
to say,
Dream.
I'm gonna be honest. As
He's the
on
Dream.
Dream on his
Yeah.
level,
I'm trying to think of somebody else.
9 times out of 10, you're gonna pay him a ticket before
Yeah.
the record even.
Yeah.
You know, just for him doing it, writing a record. Yeah, if people like him, you're gonna pay him a ticket
He's the
before.
Dream. I'm trying to think of somebody else because I know the greatest songwriter.
Yeah, Victoria
off
Monet,
of-
you probably paying her a ticket now too.
Okay.
And in the beginning, with her coming up before she really got the household name that she has now, I do believe that she probably was a person that has to, got the back end. All right, they did the splits, they did the percentages, and you're getting your money for the record for sure. But now she's probably become so much of an influence that you have to give her money before she even stepping in there writing the record. She's done that footwork.
Yeah.
She has that catalog. Her resume is stamped now to where it's just like, hey, before we even know what this record is going to do, we want to just give you this money, you know what I'm saying, just because we know you're going to give us quality.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
because
it takes having to, like you said, put
you
your
gotta
work
put that
in
work
and
in.
and all of those
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
But again, I just want to make sure I'm understanding
Yeah.
the money aspect as a new or newer songwriter, right?
Right.
If me write this record for artist A,
Yeah.
I'm obviously not known, so I get paid when
On the back end, whenever the song
whenever the
gets
song
released.
comes out.
Yeah, whenever
And
the
that
song
can be
gets
whenever.
right, exactly. That's another thing
That's the
you have
problem
to. Yes,
too. Or,
I've done a lot of records to where I recorded it in February and they didn't want to drop it until that next March. I'm not talking about the month after. I'm talking about the year and a month after. Like I've been in situations where it's like, dang, we did that record in 2022, the first year I got here, and now you want to drop it in this beginning of 2024. So a lot of things as a songwriter that you have to privy yourself to is that the artist and their label are on their own time.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because y'all recorded it that day don't mean they about to go ahead and drop it the next week. That's not how it is. Now, if it's a situation to where maybe there's been a deadline with an album and they really got to get it out there, maybe. But in a lot of cases, you're kind of like on a waiting list when it comes to it. And that's why you have to continue to work. That's why you can't just write for or, try to tap in yourself with one artist.
Yeah.
You got to be able to kind of spread yourself like an octopus and say, you know what? I want to try to work with 20 artists within this month.
Right.
Because out of the 20,
month,
somebody's going to drop something.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be consistent with something.
Yeah.
And it might even be multiple at the same time. So that's been another thing that I've been trying to do, working with multiple people.
Right.
It's good to have a team and a family and people that you want to work with on a long-term scale. So you're working with them often. But do not sell yourself short by just limiting, working with just a few people or a few artists.
And I think that specific lesson could still be applied, and we can apply that to just different aspects of life.
Yes.
Right? Don't box yourself in. It's essentially what we're saying.
Absolutely.
Don't just put all of your eggs in one basket, like the age-old saying.
Mm-hmm.
But that is interesting, though. But I respect it, man, because it just speaks to the work ethic and the hustle.
Yeah.
You have to have it. It has to be in you.
Absolutely.
And you have to be built for it.
Yeah.
And being built for it means going through the toughest of times when it's not working out.
Absolutely.
It looks sexy when it's working.
Yeah.
When everything is clicking, it looks great.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When they coming in and you got 5 artists who just said yes this month,
right,
you are having the greatest time of your life.
Yeah, but then it's been 6 months.
The next month,
right,
nobody bit.
I've always told myself I don't care if I have to write 500 songs and that 501st song is what the Billboard hit is. So be it. It's not a waste to me. And I feel like I love
music.
it. I love it. Like, what's that? I think it's called Paid in Full, when he was like, I love the game, B. Everything to me. I love the hustle. That's me. Like, I'm that female. Like, man, that was what? Makai Pfeiffer, I think?
Yeah.
Man, that's how I feel about this. And that's the type of attitude you got to have.
That's a
Like,
fact.
I love this so much
Yeah.
that I could get 50 no's this month, and it's not going to stop me from getting a yes. I'm going to get it. It's written for me. And you have to have that optimistic attitude when it comes to your art. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, now I will say this. There's some people that really do think I'm talented, I got this, and they might not be. But you got you have to respect the confidence that some folk have. You can learn a lesson from that. Like, bro,
Well,
even
the
you
lesson
know what I'm
in that is you don't have good people around you.
Exactly.
That's the lesson.
You do need to, and that's another thing. Whenever you start being complimented or people start to speak on how well you are, multiple people, that's when you can start appreciating your art more. Like, wow, let me stop sleeping on myself. I'm getting too much validation from my peers that I have a gift here.
Yeah.
So what disservice am I doing to myself if I'm not believing what folks are saying?
Right.
But if you got people around you that's saying, like, I don't know about this, man, it's okay to find a different path in life.
Right.
Because you can excel in a whole, like, there's
I'm
a million
sure
ways to get money.
It's
A million careers.
ways in one.
Yes, there's
million in one.
there's
Yeah,
a
that's a
million
fact.
paths that you can take as far as, what you want to promote yourself as. Trust me. So it's just like, that's another thing I kind of want to talk about. I feel like the music industry has become very saturated because everybody likes making music, but everybody's not a true artist.
Yes.
In
so
my
that's
opinion.
a very no. You're 100% correct, but that is a very true but loaded statement and sentiment, right?
For sure.
Because yes, in short, you are correct. I think it's a lot of reasons for that. I think in short, the ability to record became more accessible and cheaper.
Right. Anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Anybody can purchase it, go to the store and get some equipment. Even when
Yeah.
it comes to this thing that we're doing now.
Absolutely.
Anybody can buy a mic and a camera and think that they can just
Absolutely.
be some authority on something, and that's just not the case, right? So I'm agreeing with you, but I think one of the main points that I know that you believe in, based on everything that you said, is for one, the cream is going to rise to the top, and true talent is going to cut through.
Yeah.
So true talent with the right amount of passion behind it, like, you really can't be stopped.
Right.
You really can't be stopped. What I want to talk about is this, right? Because I know that you've gone through it, because I just know. Now, very beautiful, very attractive. And in this industry, as an attractive female,
man, it's been some.
Let me ask the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question is, or the statement rather, maybe, I want you to speak to, in this industry, having to decipher ulterior motives and who's really about business.
Right.
Because I know that oftentimes it can turn into, like, if you go out for lunch about business, it turns into a date.
Turns very casual. I have relationships to this day that I thought I would still be connected to, but that I'm not, because things, in my opinion, started to get a bit too casual in the business part of it, which is just collaborating, making good music, trying to get a hit. That was kind of a lost cause. I feel like, ladies, these are some things you gotta look out for. Okay, so we just gonna
talk
run
about
over.
it. That's why. Now this is really why we're here. I'm gonna sit back.
We gonna really talk about it. I feel like one thing, and it's really one of the deciding factors from how I make the distinction between whether a man really does want to work with me and whether he just want to kick it with me, is he'll be starting off with business from the jump. Hey, I want you to do a record. This is the studio I record out in. I'm looking to do it within the next 2 weeks. Or, hey, I want to do it tomorrow. The business is, you know what I'm saying? But the people who start off casual, they hit your DM. You might even see that they're a big AR, big exec, and you like, man, they could probably plug me in.
So hit me with the blue check.
Right. They hit you with the blue check, but it's nothing about your craft. They're not saying, hey, yo, I just seen that video you did where it was like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Oh, okay, what you be up to? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay, you like to eat, like, maybe we should go grab lunch. When things are casual before business, your true intentions are always going to show. But one thing I will say is that as a woman, you have a responsibility to be mature enough to see that difference. You can't fall into certain traps and be like, yo, he tried to trick me, shawty. Sister, homegirl. You knew what was up. You know, bro didn't care about that single you just dropped. He didn't ask you one time about it. He never even liked or comment on that posted. He probably don't even know you dropped it last week.
And what picture did he like, though?
You said what?
I said, but what picture did he like?
Exactly. What do you see him engaging with? Is it those posts that have nothing to do with your music, and you might have a little cleavage, or you might have a little booty? You know, you might have been at the club, might have been turning up. So in my opinion, whenever a man hits me up and they're straight on business, now whether you meet me in person and grow an attraction to me, that's different, because maybe you never even intended to do that.
Right.
But I feel like once it starts off as like, hey, this is when I do it. That, in my opinion, it helps me give a man the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, all right, let's work.
Right.
Let's work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I usually know that it's BS when it's just a bunch of casual talk. You worried about what you on tonight? Are you going to the studio? And I reel it back in. As a woman, too, don't be afraid to reel things back in. Oh, no, I'm just chilling. Are you going to be at the studio tonight? Is that what you... And if they say yeah, oh okay, yeah, I would definitely. I don't mind pulling up to the studio. Let's create,
let's make a song.
Make it work.
Yeah.
Because even if you tell them let's pull up to the studio, a bro will have a bottle and a couple woods roll. Like, yeah, we in the studio. We gonna make love and your girl. Like, you think you in the studio? Use those vocabulary and those cue words that'll let a nigga know we are working. Oh yeah, I definitely. Yo, I've been wanting to write this record. Yeah, I'll meet you at the studio. Like, yeah, we can work.
We can work.
We can work. Make it sound masculine on the nigga. You don't want nothing to be cutesy. You don't want to be demure with none of these niggas. Demure, cutesy. Leave it out the window, ladies. When it comes to your work and when it comes to how serious these men are going to take you. And so what? I'm going to be honest. There's been a lot of relationships where I knew I could have benefited if I would have just... if I could have been on that little new performance BET platform that they're going to have next week at the Hip Hop Awards. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
Because I met a lot of big people here in Atlanta when I first got here in social spaces that thought I was attractive. And I could have used that opportunity, but in my mind, I'm like, yo, they don't really care about what I'm doing, though.
Right.
That's one thing I had to realize. Like, I have to stick with the people that I know care about my sound. They trying to work with me. They trying to, you know what I'm saying? I'm not here in Atlanta to be anybody's trophy wife. I'm not here to be anybody's cute little girlfriend that can pull up to the studio. Like, I consider myself a peer when I'm in these studio spaces. This is what I want to be respected for, so I have to maintain that image.
Word.
You know.
And I love that you said all of what you said, because women, I believe it's important to hear from a woman's perspective.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Who's in it? Because even people who aren't in the creative space in that way, I'm sure they deal with it just in other spaces.
In life, too, it happens.
You know what I mean? So, but I just know that that's a thing. I'll tell you offline. I'll finish the rest of that. But
Okay.
I just know, right? So I think it's important to kind of have that discernment that you spoke to, and to stand on business, like in a real way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like I said, you seem to be very serious about your work. You have a real, true passion and love for the music.
Absolutely.
And so that love and that passion and that care is kind of what has you navigating the way that you do in this space concerning all things.
It's like a treasure box that you want to,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
You want to
Like,
protect it.
I want to protect this thing so bad.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if I could create an image of what I look like with my gift, I really would just have an image of somebody holding on to something golden and like head on a swivel around, like, you know what I'm saying? And if you coming up to me, what you here for?
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dudes will try to come up, you like, you don't want no new friend? You can't have friends, you don't want no friend. Like, everybody want to be your friend, everybody want to be in your circle. But a lot of times, listen,
Yo,
look, a lot of times when you have a certain type of energy as a woman, that's inviting, that's outgoing, because I've always been outgoing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I love people. I love meeting new people, and I'm never one that's like shy to put myself out there. But it's just like, once you have that energy, there are gonna be men and women in different relationships that are gonna try to come in. Be mature to make that decision to be like, is this going? Is it a point of this, or is this
Does
like,
it, does it make sense?
Does it make sense?
Does it make sense?
know what I'm
That
saying?
really sums it all up.
People
Because I
just
mean,
take
that's
up
my
space. You can't carry dead weight to the next
No,
level when
not-
you elevate. So
not
it's
at
just
this,
like
not at this
make it
stage
make
of the game.
sense.
Yeah, yeah,
That's just I feel like that's a very plain and simple but to the point statement. Just make it make sense.
yeah. Make it make sense. So, okay. Now I want to shift just a little bit.
All right.
All right. So we're songwriting, we're loving music, and we're creating, and we're doing all of these things, and life is great and life is beautiful. Um, but when things aren't, I guess, when you aren't so encouraged to write,
Yes.
to talk, to do anything,
Right.
what do you do? Where do you find peace
That's a really
in
good
those
question.
moments? Yeah, what? Yeah.
That's a really good question. I think I am starting to now appreciate the times where I don't do nothing because the world kind of is teaching you to like go and get it every day. You need to hustle there. You don't need to slack. Like you be thinking like, dang, I got 25 things I gotta hustle on and slack. Like, oh Lord.
Yeah,
So in my
yeah.
mind, I've started to kind of, and I'm not gonna say trick myself into thinking, but I'm starting to believe now that rest is also a part of that next step.
I love me some sleep.
You know what I'm saying? And not even
And
just
not
sleep.
just sleep,
Not
but-
just slumber, but to the
but-
point where it's just like, yo, I don't have a meeting today, and then this, and then the studio after that, and then I gotta go this, and then I gotta send off an email. You know what I'm saying? Like you've acquired so much of your day around what you gotta do with everybody,
For everybody else, yeah.
to where you have not had one silent moment to where you can gather your thoughts. So I'm appreciating that. But when I do, I love watching movies. I love watching a good documentary. I hike often. So so I'm a nature girl.
active.
Yes, absolutely. I honestly love hiking rather than I do going to the gym. Going to the gym can be a bit intimidating. You either in there pumping, lifting weights, like everybody in there like they're a WWE wrestler, you know what I'm saying? Like, or you running and you showing off how like good you are with calisthenics but it's just like it's a competition, a survival of the fittest, for real. So
At
it's
all
just like,
times.
do I
Everybody
want that
looking,
culture? Yeah,
everybody paying
like
attention.
every time I pull out my boxing bags, it's so funny because I'm thinking like, should I give weight like Mayweather? Like, can I really do my thing, or they gonna be looking at me like, how hard can you punch the bag in here?
Yeah.
Like, so it's just like nature is just that's a fun time for me. There's a lot
So
of different
hiking,
spots.
you know what's so funny? Because and forgive my ignorance.
That's
'Cause
okay.
I heard what you said.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what my mind went to first.
All right,
and
give
then
it to
I reeled
me.
it back.
Give it to me.
When you said hiking,
Okay.
what I thought, like the vision I had, was mountain climbing.
Okay,
That's
so
the
we
vision that I had
yeah,
in my
we
head.
definitely if I'm mountain climbing, which I have before, it's been the indoor versions.
See, that's a smart.
I have
yeah,
not
okay.
actually climbed a real life mountain, but I will say that indoors that's a fun activity. But no, hiking, and it can be a deep incline.
Sure. Like,
So
do you
I've-
wear like special shoes and all
Absolutely.
that? You got your little.
Yeah,
your
and you
stakes?
have to have
You got your
I'm
thing?
going the whole bag. I got the first aid kit.
you do this. You out there like 12 hours.
yeah.
and all
Fun
that?
fact about me, no, maybe like 4 to 5. Maybe like
That's a long day.
it's a long
It's a
time, but
commitment.
you just want to really spend time. You might even bring snacks, fruits, sandwiches with you, water, things that can some provisions while you're out there. But fun fact, I used to have a hiking group in Charlotte that I called Higher Heights Hiking, and it was because it was a smoker friendly group. So after we hiked, those who wanted to indulge in CBD were able to enjoy that recreational type of thing there. And then after that, we would have a very mellow walk down, a very cool walk down. I mean, we almost floated down the mountain. You damn near let the cloud just take you back to the car.
A very mellow walk
We
down.
had a very
Hilarious, yo. A very mellow walk down.
no.
It's mad
I'm
funny.
super serious, and I mean, it lasted for maybe like 8 months. Me and one of my close best friends did that because we both
That's
loved
dope,
hiking.
though. That sounds dope.
We loved hiking. It might be something I bring back later in life, but it just didn't last long. But I think the idea
Mhm.
was good because I mean, hey, we have a lot of friends, and I'm one of them. I'm not ashamed to say it, that like to indulge in getting high every now and then. So it's just like that was a moment where we were all able to push each other to the top, reward yourself at the top.
Stay high
Yes.
as you're going low, so you balance it out.
Stay high. That's the message. That's the
Yeah.
message. Now, of course,
Stay
we would
elevated. That's
Stay
the term.
elevated.
Elevated.
I like that. Stay
Stay
elevated.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Don't
hiking is
steal our
fun.
shit, yo.
I promise. I promise. But no, hiking is fun. I love to cook.
Okay.
So if I want to
What you be
wind
cooking?
down, honestly,
Everything.
Everything.
Mm.
Everything. Of course, I could do the soul food, so the fried chicken, the greens, the yams, the
Mhm.
all that type of stuff.
Make the
But
mac and cheese.
I do. Now I gotta
Right.
sharpen. I'm not afraid to say that I'm not the one that's volunteering my mac and cheese. Though.
Okay. So Thanksgiving
I'm
mac and cheese
volunteering
might
different
not
stuff.
be your
No,
dish.
I'm not the. No, I'm definitely more so the fried chicken, deviled eggs,
Okay.
yams.
Yeah.
You know, I can do the other stuff.
The other stuff.
So
You
and
good-
I
you
can
good with
cook
the
mac
other
and
stuff?
yeah. And then my favorite style of food though is Korean, Asian inspired food. So a lot of times I try like different dumpling recipes,
Okay.
egg rolls, stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, cooking is fun. And you get to immediately reward yourself. I'm eating everything that I just cooked.
It's so
So.
funny. I don't know
Yeah.
why it could be the North Carolina, but when you were saying cooking, I don't know why. I just had a little flash
You
of
know
like
we cooking
Tabitha
in
Brown.
cat. Yeah.
It was given Tabitha
Yeah,
Brown.
and you
Yeah.
know what? Tabitha Brown is from Greensboro, North Carolina, which is where I went to college. I graduated from
Where you went?
UNC Greensboro, the University
Okay.
of North Carolina at
Yeah.
Greensboro.
Yeah.
That's where I crossed. Shout out to my sister. Shout out to my alma mater. And it was so crazy seeing Tabitha and people like Fantasia. Fantasia is from High Point, North Carolina,
She is.
which is shortly outside of Charlotte, but is very close to Greensboro. I used to actually work for Fox News in High Point, and so it's just like I've
been
lived.
through High Point.
Yeah, like I've lived such a multifaceted life, and it's so wonderful seeing other people from North Carolina because it's such a small town.
Yeah.
You don't really expect to have too many big names,
Mm.
but I'm glad we got the Tabitha Browns, the Fantasia, the DaBaby,
Yeah,
J.
yeah,
Cole from Fayetteville.
Yeah.
You know, we have some wonderful people that's
I
in our,
remember
you know.
as a sidebar, I think I had a cousin who I might be mixing up what the cousin did for a living, but
Mhm.
the point is they lived right behind Fantasia.
Right.
Or Fantasia lived behind them, whatever you want
Yeah.
to say it. But yeah, I remember,
That's super dope.
yeah, super dope. I was like, this is nice.
And she's been doing her thing, man. I'm telling you, Carolinas is such a small town, but like I said, it's so rich with culture to
Yeah,
where it's just like,
yeah.
hey, we got some things to say. A lot of people know North Carolina for sports, though. Let's talk about it. Carolina, Duke, a lot of Zion.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm a
like
Duke
I'm a North Carolina fan.
fan.
Dang, we got some Dookies in the house.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I feel like a lot of people, Michael Jordan, you know, having
Yeah.
origins in North Carolina. So I feel like, you know, it's just. I mean,
I
he was
know.
on the board, but you know, he was
Yeah.
he's North Carolina.
All right.
But it's just a lot of people know it for sports, but
Yeah.
musically and entertainment wise, I mean, I can't believe I forgot Casey and JoJo. We
Right.
was just seeing him,
Yeah.
but, you know, there's just I'm grateful to be a part of the small town and
Rhapsody.
it's from North Carolina.
What?
Forgive me for not knowing that.
Yes.
That's you know what, you learn something new every day. That's a
Yes.
huge fact.
Rhapsody is from North Carolina. She
Wow.
is.
An
Is it
awesome lyricist.
Greensboro? I don't know if it's Greensboro or not. I could
Mm.
be wrong on where, but
Okay.
1,000% she's from
North
NC.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think seen a post the other day that Brent Fayez went to school in Charlotte, North Carolina. Went to high school in
Okay.
Charlotte, North Carolina. So I don't know if he's originally born and raised North
Right,
Carolina,
right.
but I do know that he has some background as far as
Yeah.
schooling in North Carolina. So it's like, hey, more people than you know
Mhm.
understand North Carolina, the
Yeah.
culture, and just kind of how we get down. So
Yeah. Like I said, shout out to NC, man. I ain't got
Hey.
no complaints about NC whatsoever.
yeah.
Right. So, okay. So let's get back to the music, right? Let's get back
Yes.
to the music. And right now, as a songstress, right, we're going back
Yes.
to you, the artist,
Yes.
Janiah Tashae.
Yes.
Make sure y'all go on all platforms.
Yes.
Type
Janiah
that
Tashae
in.
on everything.
Type that in. You'll see it. YouTube, Instagram,
Spotify, Apple
Apple, all of
Music.
that.
Yes, for sure.
But the artist Janiah Tashae, music now, current, present day.
Yes.
What are we looking like? Are we cooking up? Do we have something out currently that we're promoting? Are we expecting something? Like, let's talk about where we
Yes.
are present day.
Right. So the last project that I dropped was this year in February. It was called Destination. It was an EP, a 5-song EP that I made while being in LA. those people watching may know, but for those who don't know, I was laid off from my 9 to 5 job last year randomly after working a year here in Atlanta. And I decided to get a one-way ticket to LA and stay out there as long as, I needed to really just get that peace, find myself, work with different producers. And I did. I stayed out there for a little over a month. And man, it was such a good time. I ended up writing a project while I was out there. I released it in February. But now I'm in the process of finishing up a new project. So by the end of the year, you should definitely expect a single from that project. That project probably won't drop until first quarter of next year, but the single for it definitely before the year is up. And the best way I can explain, if I could give a visual of where I am in my music space right now, is like I'm in a cocoon, like what a butterfly does before they blossom. Just I'm in that mode to where it's just like, man, I got so much to say, but there's an appointed time as to where this thing is really gone. I can really paint the picture of what's going on, but I want this next project to be a part one. I want it to be the project that talks about the struggle, the hustle, the disappointment, the layoff, the identity crisis, the battle between the secular and the spiritual. I want that first project to really be
all of those.
Yes, I want people to get the insight on what I was going through mentally. I mean, people don't talk about the depression and the things that come with having your own plan and that plan just completely being washed away. You're like, what? This ain't nothing of what I prepared for, right? Like there's a completely different mental shift that you have to prepare your mind for whenever things just don't work out how you thought they would. So
And to piggyback off of that, excuse me, it's like, yes, plans don't always work out,
right.
but like even when it comes to, I guess, when I don't know, when you're in the mindset of, okay, um this thing didn't work out,
Yeah.
and now I'm trying to like crawl up out of it, and
Right.
you're writing about it.
Yes.
Most people say you have your whole life to write your first album because it's all of those experiences, it's all of
Yeah.
those different things that you've gone through
Right.
from birth until now. So from birth until now, you have school, family, relationships, breakups, friendships, work, industry, career,
Absolutely.
all of those ups and downs,
Yeah.
church, God, world,
Relationship,
sins,
family,
like
yeah.
all kind of, you know what I'm saying? You have
Romance,
everything, and
there's
you
a
have your
lot.
entire life
Yeah.
to actually make your first project. So I think it's good to hear you say that you plan on just encompassing all of those things,
Yeah.
because I think it's, in a respectful way, it's kind of the easiest album that you'll ever make, because you got all the material there.
Facts.
Once you put all of that into a project and you
Yeah.
bottle it up, now that's encapsulated. We got that.
Right.
Now life is continuing on, and then now it's like,
Yeah.
okay, now what am I going to talk about?
Right.
That's when they start talking about sophomore slump and jinx and things of
Yeah.
that nature. So I think you, at this stage where it's like you putting this project out, you're thinking about all of these topics that you want to touch on that just describe your life and your journey. I just can't wait to hear it, because I know it's going to be great, because not only
Yeah.
have you had all of this time and experience to go through it, to fine tune it, to
Right.
erase and rewrite, recreate, do all of those different things. The talent is there. So the passion is
Yeah.
there, the talent is there, the material is there, the
Right.
subject matter is there. Now all that's left is for us to hear the music.
Yeah, and I like how you said, like, went through it, because I feel like now I'm writing about something that
Past
I do
tense.
past tense. My recollection of it is so much more clear because I'm not going through it anymore. I
Yeah.
went through it. I'm telling y'all about what I had seen, what I had went through, but what I'm currently living in, which is more of those joyous moments, which is more of reaping the harvest of what I sown years ago. And dating again, getting back into like relationship thing. That's been new for me. Like I've been single for a long time.
Now,
We got to talk about, well, maybe not. I don't
maybe
know.
not.
Right. I'm like, I don't want y'all to know my business. But even just the aspect of that has been new. A lot of my music before has been about that heartbreak, about not really trusting, and you know what I'm saying? So now my whole experience and my perspective of life of changing. But the first project, I definitely want to show the people what I overcame. And then the project after that, will be a season to where even this season now I done overcame that. It's always
a coming through story.
Yes, it's always a coming through story for me. Especially when it comes to albums. Now, when it comes to dropping a single, that could be something you currently, you know what I'm saying? But with an album, for me, usually I want that to be a story of that season that I overcame.
Cool.
So I'm excited. I really am for you guys to hear.
As am I. As am I. So now, really quick, without giving specifics, because I don't, want nobody to get caught up and then, all of that. So I'll ask it this way. As far as writing for other people are concerned.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite genre and or type of artist that you write for? Like, do you find solace in, like, man, when somebody invites me to write for a country, when I got the opportunity to do a country song, man, this is my favorite?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Is it?
It is, absolutely. So my first, I guess, major placement, what you would call it, is from a male country artist. His name is Kirk J, an amazing artist. He was on The Voice.
Congratulations.
Yes, he signed to Young Blues label, Moon Boy.
Damn, he got his own label?
Kirk, yeah, he
Young
do.
Blue?
Young Blue does, yeah.
That's fire. I know that.
Yeah, he does. So, which I don't know if Kirk J is still attached, but I believe that he still is. But he is the one who I was really able to use my country writing skills on. Before then, I had no relationships with a country artist. You know what I'm saying? I knew it was something I wanted to tap into, but I met him through an engineer that I was working with in the Chambly area, however you pronounce that, Chambly, Doraville, that type of up north area, North Atlanta area. I met him, and he was like, yo, I think y'all be great to collab. So I pulled up to Moon Boy's headquarters, which is, I think, somewhere in Georgia, kind of outside the city. But I was working with him, and man, super talented vocally.
Yeah.
But just what he was singing about was a breath of fresh air for me. This is what I'm used to. I'm used to that down home country, the smell of cow manure.
In a different way.
It was. I was able to really express my upbringing. What I'm used to
let your
seeing.
hair down a little bit, not have so
yeah.
many inhibitions when you're writing.
It wasn't as political.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, in country, I'm simply writing about the details of smelling the crisp, fresh air with a cold brew beer beside you. You know what I'm saying? It's more descriptive. We're painting pictures. With R&B, a lot of times it can be political about what you say and how you say it and the melody you say it in. So with country, that was just a little bit easier for me to let my hair down. Yeah. So still to this day, I enjoy country.
Okay.
I do.
That's dope. And it's different. But it's back to, being able to be in different rooms, right? In different spaces and different people.
Absolutely.
Having that skill is a very valuable skill. So I think that's super dope. As far as country is concerned, me personally, I can't say that I'm particularly a fan. I know some country music that I like.
And you're not a country boy for real. You got family in the country.
Wait, what'd you just say, though?
I said you're not a country boy for real.
Oh, okay. I thought you said I was. I was like...
No. I'm saying you're not a country boy for real. You're so it's just like...
It doesn't resonate as much.
Yes.
Maybe,
and I feel like that's not even about the quality of the music. It could be a good country song. It's just your experience with it. That's not your experience with it. So it's just like... That probably
makes more sense then.
Yeah, but...
You put it like that, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, so it's like, hey...
Because but all right, so I received what you said, right? Because I definitely don't want to gloss over that. I received what you said. But then it just has me thinking back, right, to being young as hell and listening to R&B, or listening to Erykah Badu young, right?
Yeah.
I don't. These are not my experiences.
Right.
In '96.
Facts.
Facts. I didn't go through what she's singing about, but I'm liking the song. I'm digging it. It's not that I ever put myself in her perspective, but in some way I just understood it, right?
And you were hearing this song more. You wasn't hearing Carrie Underwood in Jersey.
That's fair.
Be for real. You're not hearing Miranda Lambert. You're not hearing Rascal Flatts. You're not hearing all these people in Jersey. That's what I'm hearing in the Carolinas. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying as far as just like your experience is not being surrounded by the radio stations who were pushing that music on you. You heard more of that up north or that, you know what I'm saying, around it. And I love that music, appreciate that music. But I was hearing a lot of country, you know what I'm saying, a lot of radio stations.
Michelle, is she from Florida? I know she went to Florida A&M, but I know that she ventured off and did a few country albums, at least one or two.
I'm not sure where her origin is. I thought it was Atlanta. So, I mean, I know it's somewhere. It might have been even Mississippi.
It could be Atlanta. I don't know. Maybe not Atlanta. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I know
yeah.
that she's a country girl.
Right,
And I
and
know
she is
that
from the. I think I want to say it's Memphis. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that K Michelle is a Memphis girl.
okay. Okay, that might
Memphis,
make a little more
Tennessee.
sense. That might
Yeah,
make a little more
so
sense. Because I know,
yeah,
her being traditional R&B initially,
yeah, but
and
she's
then she
crossed
was
over
saying,
now
but that's what I'm
into
saying. She was
country.
saying that that's more of her roots.
Yes.
And she was saying that she always wanted to do it. She always loved it. She grew up appreciating it. And so she wanted to go that route.
Right.
And she was the first. Like, this was years ago. Like, I
Yeah.
know B just did it more recently.
Yes.
But this was years ago when K. Michelle was doing that. She was probably one of the first ones that I can remember from the hip hop and R&B space
Right.
that like just did a 360
I can
and
absolutely
ventured off
agree.
into
I
country.
can agree with that. I can agree, especially when we're talking about R&B. As far as hip hop, you've had people like Nelly who's tried to do that crossover.
Actually, you're right. But it was a difference.
It was different. That's what I'm saying. He's
definitely
definitely coming from a
artist. Like he was
Yeah.
featuring a country artist.
yeah.
So politics might have made it
Right. It's
slash country genre, but it really
It was still a hip hop song, but with
Yeah.
the country feature.
But
But I
then
know he
again,
tried to
though,
make that mesh, cause it's
don't
all
know,
in
though, 'cause
my
over and over
head. I
again,
think about it over and over.
that won like a
again.
Grammy or some shit.
It
Like,
got
that
it,
won
it got
something.
really big.
Yeah, that won
It
something.
got really big. It got really big.
I think he won something for Over and Over. I
Yeah.
think he might have won for Over and Over. So maybe it's Nelly. Or maybe
Yeah.
we go further back.
Right, I was
than
about
that.
to say it
don't know.
might even be even more people that we're just unaware of.
Yeah.
But regardless, I do feel like a lot of artists who's from the South, who's from places like Georgia,
Mm.
Tennessee, South Carolina, Memphis, whatever the case may be, Mississippi, Alabama. Even though they're in hip hop and R&B, their roots are country still. They
Yeah.
were raised in small country towns
Right,
amongst a
right.
bunch of white peers.
Yeah,
So it's just like that's why a lot of times it's not that hard for us to do that crossover because that's literally our origin.
Well, first
outside of
all,
what we
when
like to
talking
make.
about crossover, it's really a myth because we
created that.
that. Nigga,
Yes.
who that?
Absolutely.
we
Us.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
For sure.
let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
Like, we are it no matter where you
Even
put us.
pop and rock.
Don't even matter. Pop is just popular, and we are popular. Why? Because not only are they not like us, but they want to be us. And that's just keeping it plain and keeping it real.
That's
I
for
know
sure.
it sounds however it sounds, but that don't make it not true.
No, that's serious. There would be absolutely no type of music industry if it wasn't for the influence of any African American.
Black oh,
people.
Come on now. Say
Black
it right.
black people, we are the origin of any major genre, of any genre, if we're being honest. And I just feel like that's another thing that has made me want to branch out into more than just R&B. You expect as
need to
a
stay
black
here.
female
stay
woman
here.
to just be, a lover girl, R&B girl. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? But in all actuality, I like gospel. I like pop. I like country. So it's just like, man, why wouldn't I?
explore that? Yeah.
And there's roots of me in this.
Right. It's still authentic.
It's still
not you
authentic.
trying to be something you're
Exactly.
not.
There's
Yeah.
still on the other side, there might be, other white women, white men who have never had any experience of being cultured, but are trying their best to be in these culture spaces. It's more of a task for y'all.
Absolutely.
For me, all I'm doing is tapping into something that I already had inside of me. So it's the experience is different. So I feel like that right there, staying in that country genre and making sure I continue to network myself in that area, man, it's important to me. I personally don't know of a lot of black female songwriters that are in these country spaces, and it would be a dream of mine to be
To
one of
crack into that area.
man, to just to beat that door down and be somewhat of a pioneer of like that black experience with country. Because hey, we do. We in Georgia, we in one of the most richest
Yeah.
area of history when it comes to
Black
just
people.
black people,
Yeah, for sure.
black
sure.
people. So it's just like, man, I want to stay there. It's fun there.
Okay. I like that. So now let me ask you this. As far as R&B is concerned, it's a
Yeah.
little fun, lighthearted. As
Yeah.
far as R&B is concerned, who do you love, or who were some of the people that you love today? I know all time, whatever, that we could
Right.
get into that, but I kind of want to focus on the now because a lot of times, we've spoken about our influences, right? And
Yeah.
that old soul and like we know that we got that and we
Yeah.
know, but like today, because there are still artists today
Right.
who are making music, who are making good quality music,
Right.
and a lot of times in these conversations, that gets lost by people saying, "Oh, they don't make them like they used to." That may be the
Yes.
overarching truth,
Yes.
but there's still some good artists and some good music being made today. So,
Absolutely.
who are some of the people that you love, male and female?
I'm gonna start with definitely what's now today, but then I'm gonna go back a little bit
Sure.
2000s because I still listen to a lot of those early 2010 people.
Okay, fair
But as
enough.
far as currently, definitely love Victoria Monet. She's been doing her thing in the R&B scene as far as writing and being an artist herself. I love Summer Walker. I think she's great. Chris Brown is gonna sound very cliche.
Yeah, but yeah.
But
Chris is
he's
good.
but he's just a great artist.
Yeah, he's great.
Man, I love Jasmine Sullivan. Her
Favorite though.
Lucky
Hold
Day.
on. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I
Jasmine Sullivan.
But hold on,
Ooh.
like hold on now, cause
She speaks to the soul.
Listen. Anybody who knows me knows how I feel about Jasmine Sullivan.
Oh, you don't play about Jasmine.
No. So I just had to make sure that she had her proper space in place.
Jasmine Sullivan, I pray that you see this video. And when you do, I want to tell you, here's your bouquet of flowers, baby. They're invisible, but you absolutely deserve it. And I mean, man, her voice, there's not one person you can name in the industry that has a sound like Jasmine and that could sound like Jasmine. She's one of those gems that we have to appreciate that is just a unique case of vocalism. Like, she's just, yeah. So Jasmine Sullivan, her.
Thank you. Hold on. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Thank you, because I couldn't even articulate that like that. That was great. Wow.
I'm weak. Thank you.
But so her, because I heard you say Lucky Day.
Yes, Lucky Day is great. I actually like Giveon and Daniel Caesar. I feel like male-wise, R&B within the last
Givion's
3 to 5 years.
Extremely
unique.
He sound like an old man.
I'm going to be honest, he gives me Barry White feels. Those deep
baritone,
dark baritone
now,
type.
He sound old as hell though.
Yeah, he does. And you know what? It's giving us like new age Marvin Gaye, new age Sam Cooke, I don't know. Listen, now we're not gonna say as far as skills.
I know.
I'm just saying
but
as far as unique voices.
I wouldn't give Marvin because Marvin's higher. Okay. Who else did you say?
I said Barry White.
No, you said Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke, Barry White.
Also higher. Barry White is more in that baritone.
For sure. That's
closer to Barry than those guys because
for sure
they sing in higher registers.
I agree. I think that he just has a very unique voice. I appreciate people who have sounds because in this industry, a lot of people sounds like a lot of people.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of bunch
especially
of familiar sounds.
Too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of familiar sounds. So I appreciate those artists that I feel like have made their stamp on just having a very unique sound.
How you feel about Sir?
Oh my God, love him. I love Sir. Super
like Sir,
talented.
Lucky Day.
Yeah.
What's my man? Leon
Thomas. He just dropped an album.
Yes, he did.
Super dope. He was actually just in Atlanta as well the day before yesterday. Yes, as a pop up. I was supposed to come, but But yeah, it was. Man, I'm telling you,
Fire.
People don't understand too. Leon Thomas have been in the industry for years as a songwriter,
and that's
now they're appreciating him as an artist, and that's why I want people who identify with things like myself as those people who love songwriting a little bit more than being an artist. Your time is going to come to where people are going to be able to appreciate your artistry. If you feel like your songwriting abilities is going to be your master key to get you locked up into the industry, don't be afraid of that. At one point, I didn't want to just be labeled as a songwriter because I felt like I can do more than that. I'm supposed to be on the stage. I'm supposed to do. And I get it. That might be true. You might even be more talented than people that are on the stage. But just tap into the thing that you see yourself being more rewarded in. And for me, it's songwriting in the beginning. But I do feel like there's going to be a point to where my artistry, because
the roles are gonna, they're gonna meet.
Yeah, they're gonna meet. And I feel like that's what happened with people like Leon Thomas, Victoria Monet, Money Long. Marsha Ambrosius, Neo,
that's my one.
Nija is a current songwriter that's big. That's been.
I'm not familiar with her.
Yeah, so Nija. I've actually worked with one of the companies, the publishing company that she owned. I worked with them in LA last year and the year before then. When I tell you she's been an awesome songwriter that's written for Beyonce, Chris Brown, and she's young. I want to say she's maybe 24, 25.
Wow. Okay.
Super young girl.
Shout
And
out to
all
Nisha.
and yeah, shout out to Nija. She already has made some amazing strides in the industry, and she's actually a songwriter that I look up to as far as who she's been connected with, and even listening to the songs she's written. I'm like, dang girl, how you got to? I love listening to new songwriters and be like, you're mine.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I couldn't even thought of that. Like, man, you start to respect people's hustle and their gift when you realize, like, man, there's a difference there, but they did that. They sold that. They really made that thing bigger than what it could have been. They were that heart of that song.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot, but yeah, those are my currents. I feel like.
Okay. And I'm gonna ask you a tough question. So I'll give you at least 10 seconds to just prepare for this being difficult. 'Cause
Okay.
This is a very difficult question.
Okay, give it to me.
So as a songwriter,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna ask you probably one of the toughest questions, but I want you to answer.
Okay.
Who would you say is either the best songwriter of all time, or who is your favorite songwriter of all time, but you still have to pick a name or a person? I know. I'm sorry. I had to do it. I'm sorry.
I have two, and this is my experience because of the age group I grew up in. So I know there's going to be great songwriters for every kind of time, decade, whatever. But for me, Candy Burris and The Dream. Maybe even Sean Garrett the Pen as that third one. But Candy Burris, people don't realize in the 90s and the early 2000s, yo, Shorty was really writing them R&B records. And I love it, and I feel like a lot of people sleep on Candy. They know her for Escape.
Right.
They know her for the contributions they made with the group. But as an individual, man, she's such a dope songwriter. So I've always admired her work, even her own personal work, whether they were popular songs or not.
Right.
If you listen to
Still a
some of
great
her own
song.
stuff, I'm like, girl, you
Yeah,
wrote that.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that really, that was a hit, whether the world recognized it or not.
Yeah.
That was a super hit. But I would say Sean Garrett, The Pen, and The Dream, which is so crazy because they went against each other on Versus a couple years ago.
Oh, I know.
Those two men right there are responsible for some of the biggest Beyonce, Usher.
Yeah.
I'm talking big, the A-list celebrities.
Them two are them two.
Yeah, as
Them
far as
two are them
A-list
two.
celebrities,
Nah, them
yo,
two are them
they've put their work
Sean
in.
Garrett's been
Yeah.
crazy. We know The Dream. A lot of people might not realize Sean Garrett.
Yes, once you have over 20, 30, 40, 50, even 100 Billboard hits over your name, because you can have been a part of 100 people's records.
So what? Cool story.
But the rapport that they have as far as how
A-list.
big those records that went diamond, platinum, you know what I'm saying? They have multiple of those under their belt, and that's the goal. For years.
Yeah.
For decades.
Decades,
So it's
yeah.
like that's the goal right there. I would love to be to an age where I'm in my 40s, my later 30s, my 40s,
Can
my
be.
Yeah.
We talking about later age. Damn, 30s, 40s. We talking about 70.
Yeah.
60.
Let's get into the baby faces, those people who've been songwriters for a long
Because
time.
I would say, if I have to answer my own question, I might go with Stevie Wonder.
Ooh, you can't sleep on Stevie.
Yeah, I might have to go with Stevie Wonder. I might
Such a
have to go
dope
with Stevie
artist.
Wonder simply because the man allegedly is blind. I only say allegedly because I've seen.
I'm
some
weak. We
interviews
done seen a
where
couple memes where that
Yeah.
nigga was looking right at what they were saying to look at, right?
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
like, I know it's not make believe.
Yeah.
I know the trees are green. No, I know the leaves are green. They only turn to brown when autumn comes around. I know just what I say. Today's not yesterday, and all things have an ending. Like the way that he just put things together from an imaginary
Yes.
perspective. Because this is that song that I'm quoting is called Visions, right? So here's a man who is blind, who can't see,
Can't even see.
but he's telling you about all of these different visions. He's like, basically the premise is this real or is this a vision in my mind?
Yeah.
but the things that he's describing are real things, and this is coming from a blind man. Like, it's just the layers in that is crazy for me, and I just
Absolutely.
appreciate that from someone like him who's been able to do it for decades as well, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, of course, you got all-time greats like a Smokey Robinson and this, that, and the third. But if we
Right.
take it more present day, Neo,
Amazing songwriter. Marsha
Jermaine
Ambrosius is
Dupri.
an amazing songwriter. Jermaine
Marsha,
Dupri.
Marsha's a sleeper, and Marsha's my number. She's my
Yes.
one
She did
B.
Michael Jackson's
Butterflies.
album. Yeah, like
Yeah.
she
She did.
really
How about
is.
she did the background vocals on Justin Timberlake's "Cry Me a River"? How about you
She
didn't?
did. I seen the TikTok video on that. She absolutely did.
She did all of the at the end.
Yeah, she did her thing.
I tried to. That's called a setup, y'all. I did that so y'all can
Marsha
try to get
did
a little preview.
Yeah, Marsha did.
Nah,
that.
but she,
Yeah.
her voice, the texture of her voice is crazy.
Yeah, and I feel like so many people like Marsha Ambrosius, she's a household name. So
Right.
if you're in these music entertainment spaces, you know who she is.
Right.
But she's not maybe appreciated as much as other people.
Mhm.
But I feel like I don't mind being in a space where people can connect me to these great hits, these lifelong legendary hits. Whether my household name is as big as Beyonce or not,
Right.
you can connect me with working with the greats. So I feel like that's what matters to me. Is
That's
more
where the
so that
satisfaction comes.
my
You
satisfaction.
don't gotta be Beyonce to get the satisfaction and
to get that notary.
right.
In
right.
my opinion, as long as the who's know who I am, I don't care about the who's nots.
Yeah, that's
You're
nice.
you're the average viewer watching your TV. If you're not familiar with my name, that's okay. But people like the Usher and Beyonce and Chris Brown and Victoria, they know exactly who I am, and that's where the satisfaction comes from. So it's like I don't have to pursue fame as my end goal of satisfaction.
Yeah,
My end goal is just the connectivity and having a record and working with them.
in a real relationship.
Yeah, a real relationship.
And a real respect for your contribution.
Absolutely.
Word.
Perfectly said.
Perfectly said. Well, listen, I know when to hold them and when to fold them.
This is good.
What I want is for you
Yeah.
to tell the people out there how they can continue to keep up with you, everything that
Yes.
you have going on, so on and so forth.
Right. So my name is Janiah Tashae on every platform. I know they're going to have it somewhere in the video, but it's JANIAH TASHAE. That's my Spotify. That's Apple Music. That's YouTube. I have some videos on YouTube. I have a Facebook page that you can like. That's gonna have some upcoming things I have going on. But please be on the lookout for a project, a single within the next few months. I'm super excited just to make these connections. And any producers, engineers, artists that are watching this video, if you're just interested in having a different type of female vocalist sound, or just really wanting to collaborate with a female vocalist, R&B, whatever songstress, let me know. I'm open to that, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much, Jerz.
Hey, listen, no problem. Thank you again, like I said, for lending your time and coming to kick it with us.
Yes.
This has been another episode of Qualified Conversations. And we will sign off as we always do. Until next time, everything Rico.